Happy Veterans Day. Moving to the agenda, are there any other announcements or welcomes I need to do? Not right now. We'll first order of business, then we'll need to approve the minutes of the September 10th, 2021 meeting. Has everybody got the minutes, read them? Does anybody have any changes or corrections to them? If they don't, I would take a motion to approve.
So moved.
I heard a motion from Governor Oplotnik. Was there a second? It needs to be a Board of Governors. Thank you. I needed that. Keep my attention. As the next order of business, I'll keep yours here. We do have a full agenda, but one of the items on the agenda is our budget and audit report that was gone over at the budget and audit meeting this morning. Because our auditors are here, who I didn't welcome, but welcome back. If there's no objection with the board, I would like to move that item of business to the first. Okay, we're here, all ears.
Well, thank you for accommodating my schedule to move me up here. We had a robust discussion with Audit Committee this morning in which we walked through the results of the fiscal 21 audit in detail. And so to provide the full board here for approval, a brief summary, the fiscal 21 audit for the year ended June 30th, 2021 was presented with an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion, which is the highest level of opinion that the university financial statements can receive. We also shared that as part of the university's audit of compliance with major federal programs, we audited the Student Financial Aid Assistance Program, the TRIO program, as well as the HERF program related to federal dollars provided through stimulus funds. So 3 major programs this year that were audited for both compliance and internal controls, and reported no findings for those major programs. In addition, in our evaluation of the university's internal controls over financial reporting, we had a report that identified no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. And so overall, an excellent report from us as to the financial statements prepared by management as governance. You should feel confidence that because we had no adjustments in the financial statements, that is a signature of the strength of the financial statements that are prepared for you by management throughout the year. And we would just like to express our appreciation for Rob Hughes, Linda Ice, Becca Diskin, and other members, Michelle Arwood, other members of the team for their cooperation throughout the year. You get this clean of result from a team that has appropriate tone at the top set by Dr. Van Galen. And, you know, the looking at the financial reporting process as a collaboration, we talk frequently throughout the year about new pronouncements, unusual transactions, and are certainly able to attack those things before year end so that this body doesn't have any surprises. And so with that, happy to answer any questions from the board, but overall a good opinion as presented to the audit committee earlier this morning.
Are there any other questions for Ryan, or if not, does the Budget and Audit Committee have any recommendations for the board?
Madam Chairman, as Ryan said, the Budget and Audit Committee met at length with the auditors and management this morning and recommends to the full board approval of the audited financial statements as presented. And I'll make that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion by Gibson and a second by Richard. Are there any other discussions or comments that need to be made? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion, the audit is approved, and thank you again for coming, for your very clear presentation, and to the staff from us too for
Thank you
another
very much.
year. I've lost track, but Gibson can tell us how many years that is.
A long time. Many, many.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now we'll get back on schedule, and first up is our report from the president, Dr. Van Galen.
Thank you, Governor Herschelway. To begin with, today I really want to thank everyone involved in honoring our nation's veterans at yesterday's Veterans Day event right here in Billingsley Student Center. It was a great occasion to reflect on the role of Missouri Southern in supporting our veterans and their families. And today it turns out we are proud to provide educational opportunities to 118 current students who are veterans or our current military guard or reservists. We also have 55 additional students who are dependents of veterans. We all know that veterans possess unique experiences and perspectives, including leadership skills that benefit our entire campus community. I'll now refer you to the report that is in your packet. I'll highlight a few elements of that report. First, the green and gold tours. Since the board's last meeting in September, we have carried out 2 stops on the green and gold tour in Monette and Nevada. And special thanks goes to Governor Gibson for joining the alumni luncheon in Monette. The goal is to connect with alumni and community leaders and to highlight to prospective students the truly wonderful opportunities here at MSSU. If you look at the middle photograph in the green and gold tours section in the report, it's a clear takeaway that you should never underestimate the allure of free Kona ice for high school students. That was truly amazing. The next stop on the green and gold tour is Seneca, which will be on January 6th. The other item in my written report I will highlight is a section on Missouri Southern engagement and impact. Earlier this month, Heather Lesmeister asked President's cabinet members and others to provide a list of community, state, and national organizations with which our faculty, staff, and administrators are engaged. I believe the list you have as part of my report, which is not even really exhaustive, is impressive. Over 80 organizations are listed, ranging from Heartland Opera Theater to the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce to the Joplin School Board to Lafayette House. In many cases, Missouri Southern employees serve in leadership roles and contribute their expertise and talents to better the greater Joplin area and beyond. It's a great reminder of the connection between Missouri Southern and our region and state, and I certainly appreciate the commitment of our faculty and staff who are making a difference beyond the borders of this campus. Finally, I'm pleased to report to the board that the process of identifying a permanent provost and vice president for academic affairs is moving forward as anticipated. There have been 79 applications submitted for the position. The Search and Screen Committee, chaired by Dr. Crystal Lemons, is conducting video one-way interviews of selected applicants, and that will be followed by live interactive Zoom interviews. The in-person interviews will occur after Thanksgiving and will include opportunities for faculty, staff, and students to interact with each candidate and provide feedback. In the meantime, I continue to be very grateful to Lorinda Hackett for providing outstanding leadership and service as interim provost and vice president for academic affairs. Thank you, Lorinda. Governor Herschelway, that concludes my report.
Thank you. That was good. We didn't even coordinate on that Veterans Day thing. So are there any questions for Dr. Van Galen about his report or other things? Oh, okay. Next, we'll hear from Dr. Hodson.
Good afternoon. I turn your attention to page 6 of your packet where there is a list of recruitment events for this fiscal year. The university has invested some additional dollars in recruitment events, and you can see it's a very exhaustive list. This isn't even the complete list. If there are upcoming events for which there were not dates, I did not list them, but you can see several discovery days based on specific academic disciplines, Lion Pride visit days, which have gone very well throughout the fall and late summer, and then as Dr. Van Galen mentioned, the green and gold tours. So we are doing everything we can to get prospective students and their parents to come to the campus and fall in love with Missouri Southern. On page 5, At the bottom, I'd like to note that we do have a transition in leadership at the institution. I'd like to ask Lee Pound and her husband Mike if they would stand, please. I've asked Lee and Mike to come here today. Lee Pound has served for 25 years as the alumni director at Missouri Southern. She has been the face of this institution to thousands and thousands of graduates all across the country. She is transitioning to a new role effective January 1st to work in the development office for the Capitol campaign. But after 25 years of service in an external-facing role, I thought it was appropriate that we thank Lee and Mike as well, who is by her side continuously, for their service to Missouri Southern. Thank you both.
When I asked if there were special guests, you could have mentioned that. You like
I'm
a surprise, don't you, Dr. Hudson? Thank you from the board also. Are there any questions then of Dr. Hodson about his report or other things? Okay, well then we'll zoom right along this fine fall day and hear from Interim Provost and VP for Academic Affairs, Ms. Lorinda Hackett.
We'll try again. Thank you very much, and good afternoon. There are 3 items in my report. The first has made an appearance prior, but I thought it would be important to recognize the Acacia Center ribbon cutting that was held in October. We're very excited about the official opening of the doors. We've done some internal work at the Lion Cub Academy with children that are in attendance there, but we hope very soon to be opening the doors to our first part-time and full-time clients for that. So you can read about the specifics there. The second item is the Missouri Southern State University Mass Band Day. This is a great opportunity to have over 300 high school students perform as a mass band. The Halloween theme was certainly appropriate based on the date for the game, and impacted a lot of students, had a lot of buy-in from faculty and students that are actually in the marching band to assist with this endeavor. And lastly, our dental hygiene teledentistry grant has provided for 2 very significant opportunities for our community. Both seniors living at the communities of Wildwood, as well as elementary children in Jasper, Avila, and Sarcoxy, for the services that this grant allows us to provide to those individuals in the area of dentistry. Dr. Van Galen was the notorious winner in the Changing Smiles Loose Change campaign, so congratulations to you, which raised $875 in small change, loose change, if you will, across campus. The dental hygiene department volunteered to provide toothbrushes for after lunch today, but I see I don't have those, so my apologies. Excuse me. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Dr. Hackett? Ms. Hackett? Okay. Next is our interim VP for Student Affairs, Dr. Julie Winger.
Thank you, Chairwoman Hershaway. Okay. The first item on my report, I'm excited to announce the opening of the Midwestern Esports Arena. It's located in the bottom floor of the Billingsley Student Center within the Beimdick Recreation Center. We look forward to hosting many esports tournaments, hosting computer coding classes, workshops, and providing some internship opportunities, both with Missouri Southern and Midwestern Interactive. We went from 10 to 34 students in our club very quickly after this facility was opened, and there are opportunities for recreational play as well as competitive play. The second item on my report involves the HERF student aid portion. We received about $6.7 million to distribute to the students, and about $4 million of that was dispersed thanks to the work of the Treasurer's Office, the Bursar's Office, and financial aid offices working together to distribute about $4 million to about 4,300 students. Out of those, the total disbursement, $143,000 was applied to student accounts. The students had the option to apply that to existing account balances, and some of them took advantage of that. And there will be another distribution for the spring semester. And my final item on the report gives you a lot of information about all of the wonderful student engagement opportunities we've had since our last meeting for students on this campus. So some of those in the student success area, Global Leaders has brought some guest speakers to campus, including some alum. We've had our typical career services opportunities with Networking 101, Suit Up with JCPenney, Internship Expo. We incorporated themes within student activities to fit into the Japan-themed semester. Obviously, we celebrated homecoming, and lots of students participated in the parade downtown by creating floats to participate in that. And then we had our annual Safe Halloween event here for some express trick-or-treating on Halloween Day. So lots going on for students to get involved with this fall semester. That concludes my report.
Are there any questions for Dr. Winger? Okay, next up is our VP for Business Affairs, Mr. Eust.
Thank you. We'll go over some campus improvement projects. We have two major projects going on campus. One's the campus improvement projects, and the other one is TPAC. We'll start with the campus safety and improvements projects, and we really break those into four separate projects, all of which are going on at the same time right now. The first one is a pedestrian safety project in the main parking lot, where they are putting raised medians in between the parking spaces to make a clear shot from the tunnel to the entrance to the oval. And it'll be very great when that gets completed, and most of that will be done by next week. So they'll be able to pass from one side of the parking lot to the other side of the parking lot. And that's going to be a necessity, because next week we're going to close off some of the streets on the campus. That's one of our major concerns, that we had some streets that needed to be totally replaced. And we're going to start on that on Monday morning. So International, from the light off of Newman Road around to in front of Billingsley, will be closed, and they'll be digging that road up and replacing that road, and that should be done probably around the first week in December. The tunnel under the Newman Road from the residence halls will be revamped a little bit. They're working on the entrances to either side of the tunnel, so the tunnel's closed right now. Unfortunately, it's a bit of an inconvenience for our students in the residence hall, but they will cross at the light over on International and Newman Road. But that should be done by the end of December. And finally, if you look out the window, there is a lot going on in the Oval. There's sidewalk replacement. Hearns, Spiva Library, Reynolds Hall, and Webster Hall will all have new pavers at the entrance of all those facilities, and a lot of them are being worked on at the same time. We had to take some trees out in order to get the sidewalks replaced and the roots up. So there's a lot excitement going on. It'll be a little bit of an inconvenience for a while, but I think in the long run it's all going to be great. They're replacing a water line that we've had for 40-plus years that need to be replaced at the same time, so we're able to take care of a lot of infrastructure items as well. New light poles will be installed towards the tail end of it, and hopefully all of this will be done the first month or so in the new calendar year. And finally, beginning Monday, there will be action at a location that's been closed for over 2 years, and that's over at Taylor Performing Arts Center. R.E. Smith is the contractor that has been awarded that project. They will mobilize on Monday morning, put perimeter fences around TPAC, and work on remediation of the interior that closed it for 2 years, and hopefully this time next year it'll be open. That's all I have. Anybody have any questions?
At homecoming, when they had people coming to the football stadium from parking over by the Health Sciences Building, and they have to go on that crosswalk, and there's not a light.
Yeah, that's unfortunately, that is in the hands of the city, and they've done several studies, I believe, to see, they put the strip down there to see how many cars, and both times they've done those studies, they said that it does not justify a turn lane, which is what we need, or a ADA crosswalk or something like that, but unfortunately, we were not able to get that accomplished yet.
Yeah, I was just thinking that maybe at some time if the legislature, with some extra revenue on public safety and universities, might have an overhead
Right.
walk so that people
Else-
don't have to cross that street.
That would be great. If we can get that accomplished, that would be good.
Well, lots of construction, like you said, inconvenient, but it's always exciting on a campus. It's
Yeah.
a sign of growth and improvement, and
A little inconvenience right now, but it's going to
Yeah.
be great when it's done.
you're making good progress. And the trail's open, so. If
Oh,
there's.
I didn't think we were going to mention that anymore. That's great.
Well, I just kind of missed it.
Throw
It
that in
seems
there,
like-
didn't you?
First meeting, we haven't talked about it.
So, if there's no other questions for Mr. Yost, we'll move on then to our athletic director, Mr. Mallory.
Thank you, Governor Herschelway. Good afternoon. I'll turn your attention to my report, my written report, which begins on page 13. 4 items contained in this report. I will highlight just a couple of those. With regard to NCAA governance, on July 30th, the NCAA Board of Governors announced the decision to convene a constitutional convention and the formation of a 28-person constitution committee. You will see in my report kind of everything that has happened from that time until now. And I'd like to provide an update that as of Monday, November 8th, the membership has received a draft of this new constitution. Some highlights of that. This draft cuts the current constitution to approximately 1/4. The draft constitution is approximately 1/4 the length of the current constitution, with a primary focus on efficiency, responsiveness, flexibility, and autonomy within the divisions. It outlines 9 core principles that the NCAA will promote from a national perspective. That the national office will still be in charge of the conduct of NCAA championships and the governance of student-athlete safety rules and guidelines, as well as sport-specific playing rules. The draft constitution also reduces in size the NCAA Board of Governors from 21 to 9 and adds a student-athlete as a voting member. Within each of the 3 NCAA divisions, the draft constitution highlights independent authority to govern themselves in the areas of academic eligibility, governance structure, membership requirements, name, image, and likeness standards, championship selections, and compliance enforcement. This draft constitution maintains the current financial distribution within the NCAA structure, which provides NCAA Division II with 4.37% of all NCAA revenue. With regard to NCAA compliance, the new constitution calls for consistent and timely investigation and decisions, and calls for efforts to ensure to the greatest extent possible that penalties do not punish programs or student-athletes innocent of infractions. The NCAA Special Convention will be this coming Monday, November 15th. There will be no vote on the Constitution at this time. The convention is an opportunity for review and feedback. An association-wide vote will take place at the NCAA National Convention in Indianapolis on January 20th. If this Constitution is adopted, each division will be charged with forming an implementation committee in order to bring each division's bylaws into compliance with the new Constitution. The other item I'd like to highlight, which begins on page 14, is our Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat campaign. This is a student-athlete advisory committee-led effort. We have Student-Athlete Advisory Committee President Jalen Banks in the room on a camera today. This effort by our student-athletes collected 6,302 non-perishable items that were donated to Souls Harbor. This was the 7th year of the program, which started in 2015, and over those 7 years, Missouri Southern student-athletes have collected a total of 41,870 items for a local homeless shelter. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Are there any questions from Mr. Mallory? Thank you, Mr. Banks, for leading the Student Athletic Committee and for the work you did there. Sounds good. Next up, in addition to all her work on the audit, Ms. Ice has done her regular treasurer's work, and we'll hear her report next.
Thank you and good afternoon. We will look at the financial statements for the period ending October 31 of 2021. First thing we take a look at is the cash graph, and the balance at that time is at $18.8 million. And as we discussed kind of during the committee meeting, this does include some HERF funding that has come through that we were able to draw down and is included in the unrestricted cash balance. And so you will see the variance there that creates that dollar amount. The next thing that we take a look at is the statement of net position. And when we take a look at that, our total assets are $184 million. Our total liabilities are $131 million, and this gives us a total net position of $53 million. The next statement we take a look at is the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position, and we tend to look at the difference column between the 2 years. And total operating revenues show a decrease of $2.6 million. Total operating expenses show an increase of 2.9, and within that, you can see scholarships represents about $2.2 million. And that particular line item includes the CARES funding that we provided to the students, and that's an offset with a decrease of some Pell scholarships and Access Missouri. We move on to other non-operating revenues and expenses, and you can see state appropriations show an increase of $1.8 million. You can see there the federal Pell grants show a decrease of 1.2, and the difference in the 2 years on the HERF CARES funding is $1.6 million. And I will note that those dollars that are listed there are both for student and the institutional funding. We show for the current year a gain of $2.1 million. In the prior year, we had a gain of 5.1, and that's an overall decrease of $3 million between the 2 years. In addition to closing out the FY21 audit, we are also working collaboratively with athletics on the NCAA agreed upon procedures that gets done every 3 years. And we are working through the work papers on that and the report. I'll answer any questions.
Governor Gibson has a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Linda, on the federal funds received for lost revenue, would those be also in that under non-operating revenues and the HERF line there?
We drew that money down. The money that we did for lost revenues, we did in June, which fell in FY 2021, which is why it is reflected in the cash balances at the beginning of this fiscal year.
Thank you. Sorry.
No problem at all.
I got confused between fiscal years.
Yes, sir. So the amounts that are listed there now were as of October for each year.
Are there any other questions for Ms. Heiss? Her reports are one that require board approval each meeting. If I have a motion by Governor Gibson. A second by Richard, I heard first. I kind of heard you simultaneously, but I'll give Richard the credit this time. So your reports are approved. Thank you again for your report. Next, the Faculty Senate President.
Well, looking at my own report and looking at last time report, it looks like we don't do anything because it looks a lot the same from meeting to meeting. But,
well, we know from academic affairs that you guys do quite a bit.
I was just saying, what's not contained in the report is where we are in these processes, and so things that were in the early or beginning stages for the last report are now in the ending stages for this report. So we've made good progress with a lot of these things. We've made adjustments to the minor adjustment to the grievance committee, more so to the tenure and promotion committee, just in terms of membership, fine-tuning, things like that. Handbook, same thing, just fine-tuning issues. The intellectual policy process is, we hope we see the light at the end of the tunnel. We think it's nearing completion, at least in terms of our end of it. And let's see what else. The Faculty Welfare Committee is in the middle of their faculty salary review across campus, nearing the end of that probably as well. And the only thing that's not on here is we're also examining a little more closely the role of a couple of committees involving academic policies in terms of the distinct roles between them and trying to eliminate redundancies and things like that. So.
Okay. Are there any questions for Dr. Locker, the Faculty Senate President? Okay, next we have our Staff Senate President, Ashley Brownfield, is here with us today in the absence of Mike Ofer.
Thank you. Has been working on that, and we had 50 angels be accepted between 26 of our students across campus. We are wrapping gifts on November 30th. You all are welcome back here in this ballroom. And then those gifts will be distributed to the students on December 1st. The quarterly service champ, those are staff members are nominated by other staff members across campus. And we had 3 recipients this quarter: Bryce Burns, Jesse Cook, and Deanna Eisenhower. So, and then we continue to have meetings with the President's Cabinet every month, and we continue to have different staff conversations. This recent ones have included budget and then the construction across campus. That concludes my report.
Any questions for Ms. Brownfield? Thank you for that work on the angel tree. That's such a great project, and you've done it every year I've been on the board, so I always like hearing about it and the numbers. So. And it is work, a lot of work, in addition to your regular work, so thank you. Last, as far as our reports this morning, is Student Senate President, Mr. Brent Olson.
All right, thank you, Governor Hirschway. I hope everyone is doing well. As for my report, I'll just kind of start with what my committees have been doing. So first of all, in the Finance Committee, we've approved a little over $5,000 directly to our registered student organizations already, and that's just to help support them in their goals and representing MSSU, going to conferences and different things like that. For campus relations, we're working on increasing our social media presence. That way we can reach out to more students. We've had a problem getting followers on our Instagram, so we're kind of working through that right now. That way we can reach out to students and get more input on the things that we're doing. And for campus developments, Dr. Hodson was nice enough to come and talk to us a few weeks ago and give us a little bit of an idea of all the construction that's going on campus. That way the student senators are aware of it, and we can relay that information to the students and assure them that there is light at the end of the tunnel and it's going to be beautiful. Other than that, we approved $20,000 to the Wildlife Society for some field research equipment that's going to help biology students gain research experience, field experience, and it could also potentially lead to jobs and internships in the future. So we saw that as a great opportunity for students. And we're currently evaluating another $20,000 proposal to help put in some sand volleyball pits over by Lion Village to hopefully give students some more things to do. Because currently we use the sand volleyball pits at Sonic in order to do our rec services and different things like that. So to have some on campus would be awesome. Other than that, for the Senate as a whole, we had 11 vacancies at one point in time, but I'm happy to report that that is officially down to only 5 vacancies, and we have 3 coming to speak to us next week. So we are nearing a full Senate, so we're going to hit the ground running next semester and have a lot of good things to do. And so with that, I believe that concludes my report, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are some.
I love that student engagement. Good leadership. Are there any questions for Mr. Olson about Student Senate? No? Just a quiet day today. Okay, then we will next move to our committee reports, which Personnel Compensation Committee's first up, and I don't believe you met?
We did not meet, so.
Okay. And Pandemic Committee is off the list, but do you have a report for us?
Our committee did not meet as well, but I do want to give a mention to the work of the COVID-19 task force that is co-chaired by Dr. Wingert and Mr. Used. That group just to remind you all, that group was formed in March of 2020 and still continues to this day doing really good work. It's a group that represents every aspect of the campus and to consider all of the various issues that need to be taken care of during this time of pandemic. So shout out to Julie and Rob for their leadership on that group.
Yeah, if we had only known then what we knew now. But thank you for your work. You've been essential for getting us through it. And to everybody on the task force. And to Bill for keeping up with things. So, next, 2 committees did meet this morning. And the first of those we'll hear from is Academic Affairs.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Academic Affairs did meet earlier today in front of the board, and we have a couple of proposals that were approved in committee that we need to submit for the full board approval, and they were on degree programs. We have 2 undergraduate certificates, the Conservation Management Certificate and the Social Institution Certificate, along with a new major program, a Bachelor of Science in Entrepreneurship. And I will submit to the full board a recommendation to approve those certificates.
Okay, Governor Oplotnik has made a motion. Are there any questions for her, or is there a second?
Second.
A second from Dr. Rosenberg. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, Budget Committee is up again. We knocked off one of your items. Governor Gibson's in, or Governor Haley, who's on vacation this month.
In addition to the audit report, the committee also heard a report from Drs. Van Galen and Hodson on updating the MOU between Missouri Southern and Missouri Southern Foundation. And the committee's recommendation, and I'll make it in form of a motion, is to approve that new memorandum of understanding. And I believe everybody has a copy of that.
Yeah, there should be a copy in everyone's board packet of that memorandum of understanding, and Governor Gibson has made a motion,
I'll second.
and Governor Oplotnik seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that does it with committee reports. We're speedy today. Is there any other old business that needs to come before the board this morning? Any other new business? Your future meeting dates are there, and I think plans for graduation are underway. We'll probably have an update about that next meeting for our spring graduation. But past that, there is a need today to meet in a very, very brief, hopefully, executive closed session. Council has advised that the topics are appropriate under RSMO 610-021, subsections 1 and 3, to be discussed in closed session. Then I will need a roll call vote for us to be able to adjourn into that session. And Laura Boyd, our board secretary, is out today, but Laura Switzer is here in her stead. And I didn't welcome you either, but she's been taking the minutes. And would you mind doing the roll call vote for us?
Elliott?
Yes.
Bill Gibson?
Yes.
Carlos Haley? Allison Hershaway?
Yes.
Marianne Morgan? Anita Oplotnik?
Yes.
Ron Richard? Dr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
It sounds like there was a quorum of the ward present that voted yes. So we will move to a closed session. I think that is in room 343. Thank you.